Why do politicians always need someone to blame? Why is it never their fault? The reason for this isn't new, and it's not accidental. In fact, it works better than any real solution ever could. You're watching this happen in real time with Trump's administration. They blame immigrants for crime, they blame China for a trade war they started, they blame the Federal Reserve for not cutting interest rates, and that they're bringing down the economy. Everyone else is to blame for their problems. This is known as the useful villain strategy. I'm going to show you in this video exactly how this strategy works, how these politicians benefit from it, and how this strategy has evolved through the years. Let's start with how this plays out in the human brain. The reason why the useful villain idea works is because humans have been intrinsically designed since the dawn of time to look for threats and eliminate them, starting from nature. So when we were in caveman era, there were so many threats around us that if we didn't handle those threats, we would die. Humans are biologically predisposed to behave this way. So politicians play off of that fact, and it's also why it works so well. When we see a complex issue like the economy, or like not being able to afford rent, or something that we can't solve in our own brains, politicians give us a useful villain to target instead of identifying the actual problem. They say, well, you're mad about the economy? Go after China. You're mad about immigration? Well, go after Mexico. You're mad about drug use? Go after Canada. He's giving you useful villains to divert you from the real problem, which are usually internal. He diverts your vision that way and says, hey, look over there. Don't look over here. Look over there, because those are the guys causing the problem. In reality, this is a diversion tactic and something politicians have been doing for a very, very long time. In all of Trump's solutions so far, every single problem has some sort of target. So his solution is identify the problem, identify a target, villainize the target, make the American populace extremely polarized against that target, and then use that as a way to gain more power and more control. The key in identifying when this strategy is taking place is by analyzing the dialogue. When Trump talks about South America, he says they're sending their rapists and their killers. He polarizes the American public to hate them and look down on them for what supposedly is their fault, when in reality the problem is probably internal. This is all about optics. Manipulative politicians use extremely polarizing rhetoric to make the populace extreme and to make them have extreme visions, to make them angry and feel manipulated. In reality, the one doing the manipulation is the politician, and the truth they're telling you is more deceptive than 1,000 normal lies. It's not just Trump using this strategy either. This strategy has been used throughout history. George Bush famously said, you're either with us or you're with the terrorists. This created a homeland security boom, but civil liberties shrank. It's just an example of how they polarize you. They make you pick one extreme or the other. Either you're with us or you're not. Either you're a terrorist or you're not. Things are never that black and white. There's always some gray middle ground. But when they make polarizing statements like this, they destroy that middle ground. Another example is Vladimir Putin. Putin blames NATO, Ukraine, and the West for internal problems. He diverts the Russian people's vision from inside to outside. He says, no, all the hardship you face on the inside is because of all these other countries ruining things for us. He does this so that you never look at the actual problem. You look at him as the savior. You see him identifying these issues, these sort of self-created recurring issues, and you see him as, oh, he's protecting the people. In reality, he's engaging in this activism in a form himself, just on the opposite side. The reason this works so well is the same reason that social media does so well. Outrage equals engagement. These useful villains draw far more headlines than any normal middle ground headline ever could. Since the dawn of media, people have craved interesting headlines, and they'll only read a newspaper if it catches their eye. That's the reason marketing exists, to make things catch your eye. When you look at these headlines, you can't blame the media, because the media and the way they operate is really just a reflection of human nature. Humans crave excitement. And if human nature wasn't that way, these strategies wouldn't work. Politicians see it in that very light. When politicians are giving a speech, they know that if they say something crazy and outlandish, a large portion of the population can be made extreme to follow their views and to follow their ideals. They weaponize the populace in pursuit of their goals. Through this strategy, voters have become far more loyal to their political identity than to the actual outcome. If you look at the world today, Right-wing voters are making every excuse possible for Trump. If Trump puts on tariffs on a country, it's the art of the deal. If Trump takes off tariffs, it's a genius financial move designed to boost the stock market. No matter what he does, they spin it into a positive, and it's all contradictory. You can't say that putting tariffs on is good and then taking them off is also good. That logic doesn't track, because if putting them on was such a good idea, why would you ever need to take them off? The reason I'm saying this is because the world is so polarized. Instead of looking at his policies for what they are and actually identifying whether or not they're good policies, people are more happy that, oh, if the left wing hates this, it's good. That's how the right wing behaves. And it's also how the left wing behaves. Both sides are extremely polarized. They look at each other and say, well, as long as you're mad, I'm happy. This is what the world has become. And honestly, it's rather pathetic. This useful villain landscape has become something that's almost falling out of our control, and it's poisoning the political landscape. Now, hearing this, you might think this is part of some grand conspiracy by a world order, but it's not. This theory is simply built off of human nature. Humans can be made to attack each other very easily. If you separate them into two extreme groups, they will always find joy in attacking each other and not be married to the outcome. But this useful villain landscape wasn't built off of some grand conspiracy. It came to be because humans react better to insane threats than reasonable explanations. You could even argue that videos like this one benefit from that exact same theory. At least that's my 2 cents on it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're feeling very generous, please leave a subscription. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.